Good evening, folks. Assuming it's evening wherever you are, good whatever it is wherever you are, and welcome to another edition of Nerd Week Live with your folks here at Nerd Caliber, or with your folk here at Nerd Caliber.
Assuming it's evening wherever you are.
And I knew that was going to be. There we go. Let me turn that sound off, which you may not have heard, but I certainly did. Anyway, I'm flying solo tonight. All sorts of people have all sorts of commitments. Some of them pretty important. Fingers crossed that they work out. Let's hope. So we've got 6 topics, and so it's going to be a pretty quick show. Probably be done in about a half an hour. And we'll end with a couple of plugs about some of the things that we've got coming up. So stay tuned for that. Welcome for those of you who jumped in early. Luminous, welcome. Leo, welcome. Thanks for being in the chat. And we are going to get right into it. Oh, by the way, I'm Rodney Brown. I'm the editor-in-chief of Nerd Caliber. I am a first-person shooter on that Facebook thing with cosplay photography stuff and stuff. And I'm Burly Adopter on Twitter. That's pretty much it. One of those 2 versions is going to be on Instagram or wherever else you might find me. So, as I said, getting into our very first topic. That image that just popped up in front of you there is, of course, Sandman. One of the linchpins for the DC Vertigo line, an imprint under DC that carried most of its more mature themed, not necessarily adult or super violent, just more thoughtful, mature storytelling as opposed to superhero, people in tights. And the news is that Vertigo is going to go bye-bye. You have until January of next year to get your Vertigo on. If you are a fan. Some titles will not be carried over. They will wrap up by then. Some titles will carry over to the new structure that DC is doing, because not only are they killing Vertigo, they're killing their new, their young adult series, their DC Zoom and DC Inc. Not series, imprints. To rebrand everything under 3 new imprints. So, there will be DC Kids, which is going to be the obvious kids 8 to 12. 13 and up is DC. That's that. They're not changing anything. Addison, welcome to the chat. That's actually over there. Well, it doesn't matter because you don't know where it is on my screens anyway. Yeah, so DC is going to be just everything that is not kids or everything that's not specifically 17 and above, and that is DC Black Label. I don't know if you guys remember Black Label. I'm kind of surprised it's still around. Black Label premiered back in September of 2018, and the very first issue was Batman Damned, and in the very first issue they had a full torso nude image of Bruce Wayne, and you got to see the Batwang in shadow, but I mean it was pretty clear what was going on there. And they got a lot of grief for it. They apologized for it. And frankly, I thought that they were going to pull the Black Label imprint. But nope, that is where any of the adult-themed books that will either be newly created from DC or are continuing from the Vertigo line, that's where they'll live, under this DC Black Label. And again, that's going to happen in January. So if you're a fan of anything that's currently running under Vertigo, you got until the end of the year to either finish it up or then just hop over to Black Label. Makes me want some Johnny Walker. Oh well. This is water, folks, not scotch. I wouldn't put scotch in one of this thing anyway, but anyway, so that's basically the whole gist of what's going on there. Vertigo started in 1993. It's been around for a while, and it had some amazing titles. Sandman, which is what's up there, of course. Constantine was under Vertigo. Transmetropolitan. It's really awesome stuff. So let's hope they keep up the quality of what we're used to with Vertigo. And not just like images of Batwang and stuff that they have to apologize for. And it continues doing good work and innovative work. I mean, I like the Marvel Black Knights was basically just a way to get some of their superheroes to do really violent stuff. Vertigo was not that for DC. Vertigo was stuff that normally would find a home only under independent publishers, and that was really great. And I hope they continue that with Black Label. Although it started out as pretty much being kind of like Marvel Knights. Let's make Batman and put him in there nude. So, oh well. Moving on to our next topic. Our next topic jumps over to literature and adaptations of literature. That is the main character in the Wheel of Time series. And the news is that the series, which is book series, the news is the TV series adaptation, which is happening on Amazon, has named that main character, Moiraine, I believe, is the character's name. Yes. And it's going to be Rosamund Pike. I don't know if you guys remember Rosamund Pike. I picked this image of her because that image is from Wrath of the Titans, the sequel to the Clash of the Titans. And it's very high fantasy looking. But she was in Gone Girl with Ben Affleck. She was in, I can't remember. She's in one of the Bond movies. Which one? With Pierce Brosnan. Anyway. The World. Give me the. Anyway. The World Is Not Enough? Something like that. She was in Doom, which was not her best work, and I pride myself that I did not choose any of the many, many images of Dune, which apparently was a very cold set. But Rosamund Pike is an amazing actress, really good. And the series is, the executive producer and showrunner is Rafe Judkins, who worked on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The rest of the people associated with it, there's not anything that stands out to me, among their stuff other than Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. Mike Weber of Radar Pictures is one of the producers associated with this thing. So I'm not sure exactly how good it's going to be. They cast somebody awesome for that lead, so fingers crossed. And the Wheel of Time books the series is longer by twice at this point than the currently existing Game of Thrones or Song of Ice and Fire books. So Amazon has a ton of stuff to mine. Unlikely that they're going to run out of content for years and years. So, and Amazon has done wonderful things. Man in the High Castle is fantastic. If you get a chance to go watch that, please do. So, Rosamund Pike is the lead actress in Wheel of Time, the upcoming series, which we don't know when this is going to hit, because they just cast the lead person. I assume that the scripts aren't written or anything. So I'm guessing 2021 at the very earliest. But I'll be around. I'll be waiting for it. Moving on to our next one. It is Flash Gordon was there in silver underwear. Kudos to anybody who gets the reference. And the news is that there's an animated Flash Gordon movie in the works. Well, that's not really the news. I think we may have mentioned that. The news is that Taika Waititi is associated with it, the co-writer and director of Thor Ragnarok. According to Deadline, which broke the news, they can't verify what role he's playing or what role he will have in the production of the movie yet. It is probably that he's going to be the director, probably also a writer, if not the writer. It will be an animated feature, so we don't know whether it's going to be CG. We don't know, basically how they're going to be doing it. But if Taika Waititi is involved, my guess is it's not going to be the action adventure 1930s through 50s serial stuff that you're seeing in the image there. I'm guessing it's going to be a lot more like the movie with Sam Jones and high camp, high humor. Hopefully, I honestly I'd like to see them do it more traditional style, but I don't see that coming from Taika Waititi. That's not his wheelhouse. They wouldn't get him if that's what they were going for. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. Um, if they've got him, they're going for funny because he does funny. And apparently he's in bidding wars. A bunch of studios are looking to get him on board because of the success of Thor Ragnarok, and because he picked this, or he's been picked for this. Not necessarily because, probably because. Let's see. Flash Gordon is Fox Disney. So that was a question from Luminous. Which studio is making Flash Gordon? And Luminous says, I hope they don't break out in song during Flash Gordon like the 1980 movie. If they got Queen to do the songs, they can't, of course. But I don't know. Flash Whoa Whoa, Savior of the Universe. So it's Fox, Disney, Luminous, and that's probably a good sign. Apparently, Matthew Vaughn had this. And the director of that movie, Overlord, the Nazi zombie werewolf thing that came out last year, that was surprisingly well received, had it as well. But that's definitely not the direction they're going in. And Wagner, welcome. PZ31 Gaming Channel, welcome, I guess. Okay. And anyway, so yeah, Fox is doing it. No sense yet of when they would like to have this out, but again, they're only right now tagging a possible director-writer in Taika Waititi. Moving on to our next, I'll have to move on to me before we move on to our next topic. All right, so this is just straight up rumor, speculation. Really hoping that this is true though, and that is Matrix 4. Not only has it been rumored that it's in the works, Michael B. Jordan's production company involved, and Michael B. Jordan starring. So, from what I understand, from what I've read in the Deadline story, it doesn't look like it's going to be a reboot. It looks like it's going to be more along the lines of a sequel. But the big news is there are now two different sites reporting that at least one, if not both, of the Wachowskis will be involved in this sequel relaunch. It's obviously going to have to be a completely different story. I mean, I can't imagine they'd go back to the story of Neo. That's been told so well, at least in the first movie, that there's no reason to do that again. It does set up a really big challenge for them, though, in that they essentially have solved the problem, at least for the time being, of the conflict between humans. Spoiler alert for the end of Matrix Revolutions, if you haven't seen that movie yet. They've solved the conflict between humans and the robots and the machines. So, what's the next story? Does it fall apart? Does the détente fall apart? I don't see it being an easy row for them to hoe to come up with something that would be interesting. Luminous, Keanu he's very popular, particularly right now with his appearance at E3. You're breathtaking. That was fantastic. And I am also very curious about the new Bill and Ted movie. I love the concept of them being basically the age that they really are now, and realizing that they didn't write that song that changed the world and made everything better. As long as it's still funny and wacky, and not, because that sounds kind of depressing, when you think about it. So I'm looking forward to that, which is tangential to the Matrix movie, because that would not have Keanu Reeves. That would be actually kind of cool if they somehow got him to be a machine version of Keanu Reeves, which he kind of was anyway, or hybrid. Anyway, again, they're just discussing it. No sense of when this is going to happen. The original report that Jordan was Michael B. Jordan was going to be doing this movie, came back all the way in 2017. And at that time, they said there was a script already done. It was written by Zach Penn, who co-wrote Ready Player One. So, could be interesting. And a Twitter user who says apparently, at Dennis Calero, who apparently knows some inside stuff, or maybe just made some stuff up. Sarah, hi, welcome to the chat. Says that there's a strong possibility that the Matrix 4, the fourth Matrix movie, will be a semi-continuation of the storyline. But again, it can't be a reboot, because that would be just stupid. And I can't imagine the Wachowskis would be involved if it was a reboot. That, they don't strike me as the people that need the money that would come with, oh, let's do another Matrix movie. Although after Jupiter Ascending, I don't know, maybe they do need money. That was not a wonderful movie in any stretch of anybody's imagination. But visually beautiful. Eddie Redmayne was just so horrendously over the top. So not Newt Scamander. Anyway, so I told you it's going to be a short show, but our last topic has the greatest potential for discussion, I think, and that is, that image just popped up there is, of course, Red Sonja. That is the amazing Belle Cher as Red Sonja. A photo I took 5 years ago. And one of the writers of the Red Sonja comic for years and years is actually just outside that frame, and that is Gail Simone. That was Gail Simone doing an appearance at Free Comic Book Day and Double Midnight Comics in Manchester, New Hampshire. Plug to Double Midnight. You guys are awesome. The news is that Bryan Singer is out as the director of a Red Sonja movie that's coming up. And the choice is just amazing. And if you haven't read this and you're like me and you are a, what do they call it? A red-blooded, heterosexual, redneck, drooling male. And I'm, all of those, although I drool very little. Who appreciates the costume that Belle Cher is wearing in this image, the traditional costume, the sexiness of Red Sonja, you might think that this choice is not going to work out. And I'm going to tell you who that is. It is Jill Soloway. Jill Soloway created Transparent, the recent series that looked at a family and how it was dealing with the fact that their traditionally father was transitioning to a woman. Huge critical hit. Soloway became really well known to people as one of the primary writers for the HBO series 6 Feet Under. So again, a family dealing with all sorts of issues, a family of undertakers. This might not sound to you like the kind of person that is going to be the right one to helm a high fantasy sword and slashing adventure film featuring a super sexy woman in a scale mail bikini. Soloway defines themselves as gender nonconforming. And Soloway also said, I can't wait to bring Red Sonja's epic world to life. Luminous, I don't think I've watched any of Jill Soloway's work. I haven't seen any of Transparent. I saw a lot of 6 Feet Under, and one of the defining characteristics of the way Jill Soloway writes is they write wonderfully, perfectly human, believable, understandable, realistic characters. And while this is not a Marvel movie, Millennium Films is doing it. That has been one of the hallmarks of Marvel's success. That Marvel writes characters in fantastical situations. And I'm guessing that's what Soloway is going to bring to this story. Soloway also said, exploring this powerful mythology involving what it means to be a heroine is an artistic dream come true. Soloway is also known in the circles in which this sort of stuff travels as being someone who is a very ardent promoter of feminist eroticism and erotic fiction. And I get the impression, based on what they are saying in their quotes and this history of their writing, that Soloway is not going to shy away from the powerful sexiness of the character. That may not mean that costume you're looking at right there is actually going to be in the movie, because, face it, that just doesn't make any sense. That's more ridiculous than than the spandex of a superhero. Does that mean the costume won't be sexy? I bet that whatever the design is, it's going to be pretty sexy. And I base this only on some of the stuff that Soloway has said and their fondness for and passion for feminist erotic fiction. So if you think that you're not going to get a sexy Red Sonja because a gender nonconforming writer is going to be the writer and director, whose most popular works have been deep family character studies about people in crisis, I don't think that that's a concern. I think you're going to wind up with a deep character study of a high fantasy heroine, who also happens to be very powerfully sexy and aware of that. And Lumina says, I would hope that Red Sonja would be like the Xena TV series. I think that that's kind of what you're going to see, except my guess is it's going to be more a little bit more open about the sexuality. Xena implied an awful lot, but never actually really went anywhere with its sexuality in any way that obviously couldn't be shown on syndicated broadcast TV. If Xena had been made on HBO or something, yeah, and I'm guessing that this Red Sonja film will be a lot more open about that. But I'm very, very, very happy with this decision, if for no other reason that this is so opposite of what Bryan Singer would have brought to the table. I mean, Bryan Singer needs to just get out of the industry. He needs to be drummed out. He's toxic in so many ways. But we all saw what happened with Tifa's. Anthony says, but Rodney, we all saw what happened with Tifa's boobaroos. The whole world is going to end without the chainmail bikini. Anthony, Tifa still has boobaroos. Just going to let you know that. The world didn't end when I can't think of her name. When the new Tomb Raider was cast, when the new Lara Croft, nope, not coming up. Something Swedish. Who was obviously not nearly as voluptuous as Angelina Jolie, or the angularly voluptuous sprite of Lara Croft in the games. I know you are, Anthony, but it's a good point that people need to. This isn't going to change what's best about the comic, unless you think what's best about the comic is just that image. If that's what you think is best about the comic, well, you never read the comic, and you know, go to Pornhub, man. You know, have at it. That's not what a movie being made about a powerful female warrior, and I mean powerful female warrior. Even back in the Marvel comics, Red Sonja was the female Conan. Tough, you know, just could go toe to toe with Conan. Yes, Anthony, people who get mad about it need to calm their titmouses. Assuming they have titmouses in their gardens. So, yes, Jill Soloway. Transparent, 6 Feet Under, fantastic character writer, producer, and this will be, as far as I can tell, her first directing role, or at least on a major motion picture. Actually, this was the first deal since she directed the Transparent movie musicale finale that this fall will wrap up the Amazon series of Transparent. So this will be technically, when it comes out, her second work. So I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait to see it. Very looking forward to who they cast. I would like it to be somebody as voluptuous as the way Red Sonja has normally been drawn. But again, that's male gaze. That's, I would accept. I would, of course, accept. I would be happy with pretty much anybody they cast. I'm more interested that they get the sense of a powerful, sexy warrior woman than they specifically go for cup size. Because after all, it's got to be, if it's a movie that has to have rewatchability, the actor has to be really good, and the character writing has to be really good. Otherwise, again, go to Pornhub. Watch the movie or whatever the movie that you're thinking of in 5 second for some people, I'm sure, 5 minute intervals. But anyway, I told you it was going to be a short show tonight, so we're in half an hour. That's our topics. Anthony, maybe they'll go out with something like that one blue outfit she made out of the hide of that wolf demon monster thing she killed. That may be a deeper cut than I know, Anthony. Or you may be just joshing. Luminous, I'm glad it's not Bryan Singer making Red Sonja. From their credits, Jill Soloway does appear to be a very solid character writer. Singer has been appallingly disappointing as a human being, Luminous, not just as a filmmaker. As a human being, Bryan Singer, just get him out of the industry completely. Anthony, if this is going to turn out to be an image that you're going to make up that's essentially Sonic with Red Sonja's face on it, yes, please send that. Anyway, plugs. So coming up, we will be this coming weekend at PortCon, Maine, in South Portland. We will have a panel Friday morning that's on how to make a nerdy YouTube channel, this sort of stuff. And Saturday morning, we'll have a panel with Belle Cher, Lodem Cosplay, Kitten and Strings Cosplay, and me moderating. That's the cosplay troubleshooting Q&A that we've done many, many, many times. And it's always a big hit. So that's Saturday, 9 a.m. Our YouTube panel is Friday, 9 a.m. At both of these things, we'll be giving away product from Polyplastics, thermoplastic company that makes all sorts of moldable plastics for making props and things like that. So, Anthony, it's not made up, I swear. So, if you want to win some good, cool stuff, and you're going to be in South Portland and going to be at the con, stop by our panels. Let's see. After that, we will be at Kineticon. We just found out that the YouTube, How to Do a Nerdy YouTube channel panel was picked up by Kineticon. That is going to be Thursday evening at 5:30 p.m., July 13. So I hope that 2-3 people will make it. But hey, it's a panel. One word, plastics. Exactly. One word, thermoplastics. We have a number of panelists at CAPE, our own Cosplay and Photography Expo, who have worked with these polyplastics products and quite enjoy them. So after that, Kineticon, mid-July, July, well, I was going to say usually 14th through the 16th, but we have to be there Thursday night, so July 13th through the 16th. And we will, again, have a panel there. We will have a booth at Fan Expo Boston, right next to the cosplay contest registration. We won't be sharing a booth. We'll have our own big ass booth. So, folks, if you're coming to Fan Expo Boston, swing by, say hi, get pictures, and then other stuff. I'm sure there are other things. In the weekend after Kineticon, so the weekend after July 15th and 16th, we'll be up in Ware, New Hampshire. Not Weir's Beach, Ware, New Hampshire, Weare, at a one-day library con that's going on up there, taking pictures for them and us. Couple of guys who are regulars at GraniteCon are helping put it on, and so we agreed to help them out. Check it out. If you're in the area, July in central New Hampshire is beautiful. So, Ware, New Hampshire, very close to that spelling, Anthony. Weare. So you just replace the A and the H. You do that, you would be Antoni Keodor. Anyway. So that's me rambling for another 3 minutes while I'm giving you the plugs. And 2 weeks in a row, folks, I'm going to remember to do this. Subscribe if you haven't. Click that bell for notifications if you haven't. And we will see you all next week, Tuesday evening. Hopefully it won't be just me blathering on. You'll get to hear some more back and forth with some really cool people. But either way, we'll have more nerd news for you next week. Everybody have a good night, a good week, and we'll see hopefully some of you this weekend at PortCon, Maine. Bye-bye.